My name is Brianna McDaniel. I'm a 12th
Good to
grader.
meet you.
And I am a very dedicated and strong woman of Christ. Like, I that's my belief, and that's what I try to do, like, live my life as. But one of the things that is kind of doubting me, it's not, like, completely pulling me away from my faith, but something that when I was reading my Bible, I was reading about how some of the writers of the New Testament were talking about the different roles and responsibilities of women and men in relationships. And it kind of made me feel like they weren't saying, like, we have complete responsibilities. I understand that God, like, I understand my position, but I just didn't understand, like, or see or interpret, like, if they were being more of like a patriarch type of feel.
Understood. Yeah. So let me. This is my take on this, and I also read this as a 35-year-old for the first time, raised by a single mom in the 60s, who very much saw herself as independent, capable. She never remarried. She divorced and never remarried. It's just the two of us. And if I'm honest, she was pretty much tied to the views of the culture at the time. Not a Christian. So I really had to struggle with, okay, I'm coming from a completely different view of the world. What am I missing here? And I remember a lot of times you're reading stuff that people are writing to a culture that already has a certain baseline knowledge. You already understand certain things. I don't have to repeat all of this. But for us now, 2,000 years later, we have to figure out, what does Paul really say? Here's what I'm struck by in the roles that men and women play. What I'm struck by is that there's times when it seems, and it's in Scripture, that men are deferred the authority to make decisions, the authority to lead. And I think sometimes that's seen as, oh, well, there you go. Like, this is this patriarchal society where men have all the power. I don't know that the authority to lead necessarily means power, though. So I also don't think it does. Here's what I think it means. It means responsibility. Now, that's a burden. I don't see that as like, oh, I have the authority. This is cool. I don't see it that way. I see, I have the responsibility. And to me, that responsibility wears on me as a husband. Long before I was a Christian, as a husband and as a father, I saw that whatever authority I had in any given decision, usually about decisions, like I would make some decisions, Susie would make other decisions, but whoever made the decision then had to carry it. If it's a bad decision, it's not on her. I made it, so it's on me. I don't even want that responsibility half the time. But that's the burden. So I never saw the assignment of authority as like a good thing. Like, you have all the authority. No, I have all the responsibility. I really? And I see that really sometimes as a gift that I'm able to give Susie. Look, I'm supposed to have the authority on this issue. I don't really want it because I don't want all the responsibility for it. I see it as a burden, but I'm supposed to take and saddle and shoulder that burden so that you won't have to. A lot of that is because most of the time in relationships, I have a burden also of physical protection because I'm a little bit bigger, right? Let's just face it, my muscle density is probably a little bit, my bone density, all of those differences that testosterone provide to one side of the relationship, those are unfortunately things that I have to leverage. For example, if somebody starts to confront us, I don't expect Susie at 5'2" to step in front and take the lead on this. I'm going to take the lead on that, right? So that means that when I'm out with her sometimes, I sense my role, my protective role. And I think Scripture acknowledges the kind of roles and differences. I will tell you, though, that Susie has incredible power in our relationship. Probably I would be more likely to say I could not live without her than she would probably say that she could not live without me, if I'm honest. And so the power, though, comes from a different place. So my issues as a man are usually grounded in respect. Does Susie respect me? Her issues as a woman are usually grounded in, does he love me well? And we are different in that sense in some ways. Of course she wants respect also. I want love too, but it's usually scaled a little bit differently. And so that I've learned how to react to each other based on what, I think the Scripture actually describes men and women exactly the way they are and what our deepest desires are for each other. So when I see in Scripture that sometimes men are given authority in certain areas, I never saw that as a positive. I saw that more as, well, yeah, no, I'm responsible. This is given to me to protect as a gift to her. Not because she's not capable of it, she is. But if you have to bear the burden of the bad decision, I mean, nobody really wants to be the one to have to do that, right? So that's how I kind of see it, and you see that in the scripture. I never saw it, though, as, well, this gives me my responsibility to take this lead in this area does not give me power over her. And I never saw it that way, even as an atheist. I never saw it that way, and I still don't see it that way as a Christian. I think we have very complementary roles. And there are areas in which she is clearly, I'm going to go to her for the question on that, and areas where she's going to go to me. And I think Scripture allows that reality. And that's how we were behaving before we were Christians, so I don't see a big change for me.